When people hear the word aging, they often imagine decline, slower steps, weaker muscles, quieter lives. But the human body tells a very different story. Inside every senior is a living system still learning, still adapting, still capable of strength. Cells renew, nerves communicate, muscles remember movement, and the heart continues its loyal rhythm. The golden years are not a shutdown phase of life, they are a refinement phase, and today we explore how a strong body can still belong to an experienced soul. The body is not a machine that simply wears out. It is a conversation between movement and biology. Every time a senior stands, stretches, or walks, microscopic messages travel through muscle fibers and nerve endings. These signals say, stay alive, stay useful, stay responsive. Science shows that muscles remain adaptable even in later decades. They may change more slowly, but they still listen. When seniors move, blood flow improves, oxygen delivery sharpens, and joints receive nourishment. What looks like a simple walk is actually a silent symphony of healing happening beneath the skin. Balance is not just physical, it is neurological poetry. Deep inside the brain, systems coordinate posture, vision, and inner ear signals to keep the body upright. With age, those systems need gentle reminders. Each controlled step, each slow turn teaches the brain to trust the body again. Falling is not caused by weakness alone. It is often caused by lost communication between mind and muscle. When seniors train balance, they are really training confidence at the cellular level, rebuilding trust between intention and action. The aging body is often misunderstood as something fragile and finished, but biologically, it remains responsive and intelligent. Inside every senior, millions of cells are still exchanging information every second, deciding how to repair tissue, deliver oxygen, and manage energy. Aging changes the speed of these processes, but it does not erase them. When a person moves, even gently, the body interprets that movement as a signal that life still requires strength and coordination. Muscles are not just ropes that pull bones, they are living tissues filled with sensors that react to use. Each contraction sends messages through nerves and blood vessels, encouraging the body to maintain structure and function rather than letting it fade. With time, unused muscles begin to shrink in a process called atrophy. But science shows this is not permanent or unavoidable. Muscle fibers keep the ability to grow and reorganize, even in older adults. When seniors walk, stretch, lift light objects, or change posture, small stresses are placed on the tissue. These stresses are not harmful. They are instructions. They tell the body to increase protein production inside muscle cells, strengthen the connections between fibers, and improve their ability to hold energy. The result is not just visible strength, but deeper resilience inside the tissue itself. The nervous system plays a quiet but powerful role in this adaptation. Every movement activates pathways between the brain and muscles, refreshing coordination and timing. When movement disappears from daily life, these pathways weaken, making the body feel slower and less trustworthy. But when movement returns, communication improves. Signals travel more efficiently, reactions become smoother, and the sense of control grows. This is why seniors often feel mentally sharper after regular activity. The brain is not separate from the body. It is woven into it through motion. Blood circulation is another part of the story. As muscles work, they ask for more oxygen and nutrients. The heart responds by pumping more efficiently, and blood vessels gently expand. This increases the delivery of oxygen to tissues and removes waste products that cause stiffness and fatigue. Over time, regular movement improves the flexibility of blood vessels and supports healthier pressure levels. Even simple activities done consistently create a biological environment where tissues receive better care from the inside. Joints also benefit from adaptation. They are not passive hinges. They rely on movement to stay nourished. Cartilage receives its nutrients through compression and release, much like a sponge soaking in water. When seniors move, joints are lubricated, stiffness decreases, and the surrounding muscles learn to support them better. The body becomes more economical. using less energy for the same task because systems are cooperating instead of resisting one another. What emerges from all of this is a quiet truth. Aging does not cancel the body's ability to learn. It only asks for gentler lessons. Movement becomes a form of communication, telling the biology of a person that usefulness still matters. Cells adjust, nerves reconnect, circulation improves, and structure reorganizes itself around activity. Strength in later life is not forced. It is invited, and the body, even after many years, still knows how to answer. Balance is something most people only notice when it starts to disappear. Yet it is one of the most complex abilities the human body performs. Standing upright looks simple, but inside the body it requires constant cooperation between the brain, the eyes, the inner ear, the muscles, and the joints. Every second, these systems exchange information about where the body is in space and how it should adjust. As people grow older, this communication can become slower or less precise, not because the system is broken, but because it is used less intentionally. When movement becomes cautious or limited, the brain receives fewer updates from the body, and confidence in motion quietly fades. The brain depends on feedback from muscles and joints to understand position and timing. Tiny sensors in the feet, ankles, hips, and spine report pressure, stretch, and speed of movement. These signals travel upward to the nervous system and help create stability. If seniors stop challenging their balance, these sensors become less active, and the brain begins to rely on incomplete information. The result is often hesitation, stiffness, and fear of falling. But this pattern can be reversed. When a person practices controlled movement, the nervous system becomes curious again, refining how it listens and responds. The inner ear contributes another important layer. Inside it are structures that sense rotation and acceleration, helping the brain understand when the body is tilting or turning. With age, these signals may weaken, but they remain trainable. Gentle turns, slow changes in direction, and mindful posture encourage the vestibular system to stay involved. Each time a senior safely explores motion, the brain updates its map of stability, reducing the feeling that the world is unstable beneath their feet. Vision also participates in balance more than most people realize. The eyes provide reference points that guide posture and movement. As eyesight changes with age, the brain must adapt how it blends visual information with physical sensation. Balance exercises help retrain this blending process. The mind learns to trust not just what it sees, but what the body feels. This creates smoother, more confident motion instead of rigid protection against imagined danger. Muscles themselves are part of the communication network. They are filled with receptors that sense tension and length. When seniors engage in slow, controlled steps, heel-to-toe walking, or standing on one leg with support, these receptors wake up and send clearer messages. The brain becomes better at predicting motion instead of reacting late. Stability improves not by brute force, but by timing and awareness inside the nervous system. Fear often interrupts this process. After a stumble, many seniors reduce movement, thinking safety comes from stillness. Biologically, the opposite happens. Stillness weakens the dialogue between brain and body. Movement, when done gently and repeatedly, rebuilds trust. The nervous system learns that adjustment is possible, that small corrections prevent large mistakes. Confidence grows because the body proves, step by step, that it can respond. What develops over time is not just physical steadiness, but mental calm. The brain no longer treats movement as a threat, it treats it as a familiar language. Balance training becomes a way of restoring conversation between intention and action, where the mind asks for motion and the body answers with reliability, creating a quiet partnership that supports independence and safety in daily life. Strength in later life is often misunderstood as something aggressive or extreme, but biologically it is a subtle and intelligent process. Muscles are living tissue designed to respond to demand, not to age itself. Even in senior years, muscle fibers retain the ability to activate, repair, and grow when they are invited into action. When light resistance is applied, whether through body weight, elastic bands, or small household objects, the muscle experiences gentle tension. That tension creates microscopic changes inside the fibers, signaling the body to rebuild them stronger and more efficient than before. This rebuilding process is not about size, but about quality. Inside each muscle cell, proteins are constantly being broken down and replaced. With inactivity, breakdown becomes faster than repair, leading to weakness. When seniors perform simple strengthening movements, the balance shifts. The body increases protein synthesis, reinforcing the structure of muscle fibers and improving how they store and use energy. This helps everyday tasks like standing up, climbing steps, and carrying objects feel less demanding and more natural. Bones are deeply connected to this process. They are not static frames, but active tissue that responds to pressure and load. When muscles pull on bones during movement, they stimulate bone cells to maintain density and organization. Without that stimulus, bones slowly lose minerals and become fragile. Light resistance exercises send safe mechanical signals through the skeleton, encouraging it to preserve strength from the inside. This reduces the risk of fractures and supports posture and alignment over time. Joints also benefit from strengthening in a quiet but important way. Muscles act as stabilizers around joints, absorbing forces that would otherwise strain cartilage and ligaments. When these muscles weaken, joints work harder and become vulnerable to pain and stiffness. By reawakening muscle support, seniors allow joints to move smoothly and safely. The motion becomes cooperative rather than stressful, which helps reduce inflammation and improves comfort during daily activities. Another invisible advantage of strength training is circulation. Contracting muscles act like pumps, pushing blood through vessels and improving the delivery of oxygen and nutrients. This supports tissue repair and removes metabolic waste that contributes to soreness and fatigue. Over time, regular gentle resistance improves vascular flexibility and metabolic health, creating a body environment that supports longevity rather than decline. There is also a hormonal response to movement. Even light resistance stimulates the release of substances that regulate inflammation, glucose use, and mood. These biochemical changes influence not just muscles and bones, but the entire system. Seniors often notice better sleep, improved appetite, and a greater sense of stability when strength becomes part of their routine. The body is not only becoming stronger, it is becoming more balanced internally. Perhaps the most meaningful change happens in how the nervous system controls strength. Muscles do not work alone. They are guided by the brain's timing and coordination. With training, the brain learns to recruit fibers more efficiently, using less effort for more control. This makes movement smoother and safer. Strength, then, is not about force, but about cooperation between intention and tissue. Through gentle resistance and patience, the aging body does not fight time, it adapts to it. Muscles respond, bones organize, joints stabilize, circulation improves, and the nervous system refines its control, allowing seniors to carry strength not as strain, but as quiet support for everyday life. The heart is not simply a pump pushing blood through the body. It is a responsive organ that listens to the rhythm of daily life. In seniors, the cardiovascular system continues to adapt to patterns of movement and rest. When activity disappears, the heart works less efficiently, blood vessels become less flexible, and oxygen delivery slows. But when gentle, consistent movement becomes part of the day, the heart begins to relearn its own rhythm. Each step, each stretch, each calm breath creates a demand that the system quietly rises to meet. As muscles move, they request more oxygen. The heart answers by increasing circulation, not through force, but through coordination. Over time, regular activity strengthens the heart muscle itself, allowing it to pump more blood with less effort. Blood vessels respond by becoming more elastic, which improves how pressure is regulated. This is not about speed or intensity, but about repetition. A slow walk done daily trains the system more effectively than rare bursts of effort. The body adapts best to what it experiences often. The brain benefits deeply from this circulation. It depends on a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients to maintain memory, focus, and emotional balance. When blood flow improves, neural tissue receives better support and waste products are cleared more efficiently. Seniors who stay active often describe feeling mentally lighter, calmer, and more present. This is not coincidence, it is physiology. Movement nourishes cognition by caring for the vessels that feed the brain. Breathing also changes with consistent activity. Many older adults begin to breathe shallowly without realizing it. Gentle movement encourages deeper, slower breaths that improve gas exchange in the lungs. Oxygen enters the bloodstream more effectively, and carbon dioxide leaves more completely. This supports endurance and reduces the sense of fatigue that can make people avoid activity in the first place. Over time, breathing becomes more economical, matching effort with calm rather than tension. The nervous system responds to cardiovascular rhythm as well. Regular motion stabilizes the balance between stress and relaxation. Activity encourages the body to release substances that calm inflammation and support emotional steadiness. Anxiety often decreases, sleep improves, and mood becomes more resilient. The heart and brain are linked through nerves and hormones, and movement keeps that link healthy and responsive. Consistency matters more than ambition. The cardiovascular system is ancient and patient. It changes gradually, shaped by what is repeated rather than what is dramatic. Seniors who move a little each day teach their biology that life still requires circulation, attention, and adaptation. The heart becomes a partner in daily living rather than a background organ struggling with neglect. What unfolds through steady movement is not only physical endurance, but mental clarity. Blood carries oxygen, glucose, and messages throughout the body, and the brain listens to those messages. With better circulation, thinking becomes smoother, emotions stabilize, and awareness sharpens. Activity becomes a form of communication between motion and mind, where the heart supports not just survival, but presence. Through calm, regular movement, the cardiovascular system learns to serve the whole person more effectively. The heart strengthens, vessels soften, breathing deepens, and the brain receives steady nourishment, allowing seniors to experience activity not as exhaustion, but as a gentle restoration of internal rhythm and mental vitality. Staying active in later life is not only a physical act, it is a psychological dialogue between who a person is and how they move through the world. The brain does not treat the body as a separate object. It experiences identity through action. When seniors stop moving, the mind quietly receives a different message, one that suggests limitation, dependence, and shrinking space. But when movement continues, even gently, the brain interprets it as participation. Each step, each stretch, each controlled effort becomes a statement of presence. The nervous system responds to activity by releasing chemicals connected to motivation, mood, and focus, reminding the mind that it still has a role in shaping the day. Inside the brain, networks responsible for emotion and purpose are deeply connected to physical behavior. Motion stimulates neurotransmitters that influence optimism, attention, and emotional stability. These substances do not simply make people feel better. They change how the brain processes reality. Seniors who stay active often notice they think more clearly, worry less, and feel more emotionally grounded. This happens because movement tells the brain that the environment is safe enough to explore, rather than something to withdraw from. The mind begins to shift from protection to engagement. There's also a powerful relationship between activity and self-belief. The brain builds its sense of capability from experience. When a senior successfully stands, walks, balances, or lifts something, the mind records that success. Over time, these experiences accumulate into confidence. Confidence is not an idea. It is a biological pattern reinforced by repeated action. When movement disappears, uncertainty grows. When movement returns, belief quietly rebuilds itself at the neural level, allowing seniors to feel less like observers and more like participants in their own lives. Purpose is another hidden benefit of staying active. The brain thrives on meaning, and movement creates structure in time. A walk in the morning, exercises in the afternoon, stretching in the evening give the day shape. This structure tells the nervous system that life still has rhythm and intention. Without it, days can blur, and the mind may drift into passivity. Activity anchors attention to the present moment, making the body a compass for awareness rather than a reminder of age. Social identity is also influenced by motion. When seniors move with confidence, they interact differently with others. Posture, pace, and presence shape how a person feels seen and how they see themselves. Activity supports dignity, not through performance, but through autonomy. Being able to move independently reinforces the idea that one still belongs in shared spaces, conversations, and experiences. The emotional system of the brain responds strongly to bodily signals. If the body remains still for long periods, the brain may interpret that stillness as withdrawal. When the body stays active, the brain interprets it as curiosity and openness. This changes how seniors experience aging, not as disappearance, but as continued evolution. The mind begins to associate later life with exploration rather than retreat. Through movement, identity stays dynamic. The body becomes a living message to the brain that usefulness, curiosity, and dignity have not expired. Each action reinforces the idea that growth is not limited by age, only by silence and motion. And when the body keeps speaking through activity, the mind keeps listening with purpose and belonging woven quietly into every step.